Welcome to another video. In this video we're gonna touch the subject of variables and the scope of variables and how it changes depending on where you declare this. So let's get started. Alright, so to start, it's gonna be real easy. We have one room with one type in it. In this type, all the code we have is on create, we create a variable that is set to true. This variable is declared on this, which is this type. So we declare a variable on this type and we set it to true. And on each frame, if we hover and click over this type, and if the variable active is set to true, we're gonna set the variable active to false. Else, if the variable active is set to false, we're gonna set it to true. And then we're gonna set the visible property of this type. We're gonna set it equals to our active variable. So that will be true or false. And this will enable us to activate and deactivate this type with one click. So right now, when the room is executing, we have our room, we have the type, and when we click on it, it gets disabled and enabled, disabled, enabled. So with this, you can see that if you declare a variable within this type, that variable is going to be accessible, readable, and writable by that same type in which it was declared. Alright, but what happens when you have two variables in the same room? And then you might need these two types to communicate each other by ways of reading and writing to a variable. How will you do this? Alright, so to do this, you have to declare the variable in the room, and the variables that you declare in the room can be shared by all the types that are spawned in the room. To declare a variable in the room, you come over here to the room, come over here on room events, and then you can declare your variable. Here on create, we declare a variable that is called active, and it's declared on this, which is the room, to true. And then over here in our type, to read this variable, we do a ct.room.active. This active is the name of the variable you declared in your room, and with ct.room you can access those variables and modify them. And with this, we're simply reading that variable. ct.room active, we're making it equals, we're setting the visible property of this type equals to the variable in the room. And with this, you can see that if you modify a variable with one type, that same variable can be read by another type. So variables that are declared in the room are shared variables by the types that are in the room. Alright, but what happens then when you have types in different rooms and you need them to share information and to share variables? How will you do this? Like in this case, we have the room we were working on, where we have a new button right here that takes us to a secondary room where there's another type. So we want this type to communicate with these types and vice versa. So how do we do this? So this is very easy. All you have to do is come over here to your project tab, over here to custom scripts, and in here we add a new script. This script, you can name it whatever, but we're gonna name it variables for consistency, and then we're just gonna declare our variable in this script. Variable active equals true. And with this variable declared on this script, we can use this variable anywhere. We can read it and write it. And to do this is very easy. All you do is call the variable directly. Like you can see over here, we are calling the room variable active and the local variable active, and we're also calling the universal, how I like to call it, the universal variable, which is on our custom script and is accessible anywhere. On the secondary room, we have another type that it's basically just setting the property of visible equals to our variable active, which is in the custom script. You can see that we have one room with our types. We switch to another room. Here's our secondary type. And if we switch back and disable these ones, this one is disabled also. So this is how you can share variables through different rooms using custom scripts. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this was useful to you, and I'll be uploading more videos, so I hope you stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video, and I'll leave you links on the description just in case you haven't downloaded this.